Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, the 8th of January, 2023, and I just got out of the shower not too long ago, so hair's still wet a bit, but anyway. There's a lot of points that I didn't bring up, of course, again, in the last video, but I'm trying to make them not only more informative and take more notes and actually try to stick with them, but make them shorter as well. But that's, again, something that it's going to have to be more involved once I move out of this place. Because again, the destruction is going to be back again soon anyway. Yeah, just going in old news, just because I was predicting events for 2023 in not my last video, but the one before that. And I think I did mention about digital IDs in Newfoundland, trial run there. Not a good idea. We cannot be doing this. But now even I just remember this from a lot of the stuff that I look at from the news. But in Europe now too, they're not going to be accepting Canadians unless they have some kind of like a digital visa passport submitted, and not a fan of that. But I do maybe understand where they're coming from, because like I do know a lot of people that are Canadians that are acting kind of like a militia right now in Europe and various different countries, and going there to help, obviously in varying capacities. But like there's some people that I've just got wind of in the last few months too that are doing stupid, awful things that are not helping anything at all, not helping anyone, and in fact doing the complete opposite. And so just dropped a couple work contacts just over some stuff. And it is what it is. But even in the military, like I was saying, like 15 years I served as an infantry officer, and since then too, like all my work has been either isolated because like I'm not because I'm resisting mandates and the therapeutics, and because of what I talk about, even flat Earth, right? This stuff is not simulation Earth. This stuff is not easily digested or handled in the groups that I was and am operating with, right? And so these are all experts in various different fields and capacities, and multiple different levels of education, like beyond PhD level, and still not grasping what I'm trying to freaking share, because people are not even looking at the information, which is really, really frustrating. And like, anyway. And just seeing how history is repeating itself. This is why this stuff is really, really frustrating. So I've talked before about Europe and how like Nazi Germany was extreme right, during the war. But before that, like even in 1919, German workers' parties formed. It was a precursor to the Socialist Nationalist Party, right? So this was under Adolf Hitler. Eventually, like it started like a socialist party in the 20s, and then by the late 30s. Again, it was more like it went more what they're calling right. But if you look at all the other countries that were in Europe, like Austria and Hungary and the Ukraine and so many other places, they were communist socialist countries, and where most of the atrocities were committed, right? And where the gas chambers were, and all these other like quarantine and concentration camps, where there was like a really, really poor conditions for a lot of people, and then like vaccines like forced on people, which caused like the spread of a lot of like different diseases, and people really look into your history with like the swine flu and with typhoid and with so many different illnesses that were put on people. And I've said this before, even with polio in so many different countries. I've shared the results of that as well, where they were calling it like pandemic of the vaccinated, because of the spread because of the partial variant. And when we vaccinate people with flu, people can spread that to other people. And anyways, I'm going on all these tangents, but so 1919 precursor to that. So like if we have any like workers' parties formed or anything like that, this is stuff to like look out for as well. I was talking to some people about pressure versus temperature, because I was looking at water in various different containers and then not in containers, and how it would appear that like when it comes to like even like the freezing temperatures of various different liquids into solids and into gases, pressure matters more than temperature. And so even at temperatures below 611 PA, liquid water is not stable, right? So we have to look at this like the stability of water, and it's not so much regarding the the form that it's in as so much as again the pressure. I've said that so many times. Sorry, my brain's like all over the place. Which is why I also used to drink, right? Like that's why it became such a big thing, because even at a very young age, like I had already read hundreds of books and reading awards even in grade 4, 5, and 6, because of like reading the most books, and you have to do book reports But then also we would be assessed for how we would read different books to people, and I was always the best reader. And then I was public speaking, like I always won awards for that as well, like at a regional level, so not even just within my school, but or against other schools, but yeah, which is why I'm probably single, right? Freaking nerd. Oh my goodness. I was talking about planets and astronomy and stuff like that, and how it's connected to science and religion in my last video, and this is all stuff that is really like a lot more interesting to me, and I've got so many books on like Rudolf Steiner, more of the occult stuff, Manly P. Hall, Albert Pike, yeah, like you name it, and then you've got like even like the Dance of the Zodiac and astrotheology and shaman. I've got like other books, the Bible myths and their parallels in other religions. Like so many different scientism exposed by Robbie Davidson, like more books that again, like when there's no blasting and beeping going on around my, like right outside my house that I can hear in all levels of my house, I can get into this stuff more and like exposes so much stuff. But this is what I mean, like people that are trying to come at me saying, you know, like this is the astrological world cycles by Terramata, Rudolf Steiner's Essentials, Alvin Boyd Kuhn, The Lost Light, An Interpretation of Scriptures. Like these are just again like what's on my table right now, and then I also have like Alex Gleason and Eric Dubay and Archaics, Jason Brashear's work and so many others, right? And there's people that talk about like different dimensions. I've said that this is a simulation, a multi-dimensional simulation that's being projected. Like we're perceiving it through like with a flat plane and a dome above and some kind of a container below. But this is one simulation, or what do you want to call it, out of an infinite amount. And so some people break it down as like 1 through like 12 different dimensions, and 12 obviously is a sacred number for various different reasons because of the clock, you know, and the zodiac, and it's a divine number. Even with 1 + 2 being 3 is like the trinity of the pineal gland, pituitary gland, and our cerebral or spinal fluid, or Christ oil, whatever you want to call it. And even if you want to go, like people used to have like 6 fingers and 6 toes apparently in various different blood groups or genealogies, and so like that would be 12 as well. And oh, there's just so many things that we can go into. But so NPC in the womb like would be 1D in some groups, and 2-dimensional would be child/slave, easily molded, right? And then 3D, 7 to 15 years or to 18 years, depending on your level of transcendence. 4-dimensional would be king or queens. 5D, genie, fairy. 6D, angels. 7D, archangels, just like Satan possibly was, or Lucifer. And so 7 is like again another sacred number that apparently is God's like most preferred number for so many different reasons. But then you've got the 7 days of the week, the 7 original planets, 7 fallen angels, 7 trumpets, 7 like a lot of things. I don't know if I already said 7 days of the week. I probably did. But then even when you do the 7 in like a north, south, east, west, or whatever you want to call it, or up, down, left, and right, it forms like a swastika, or like the reverse of a swastika. If you look at different symbols, like it is flipped. And one means like evil, and one means like good, or whatever you want to call it, depending on how you flip it. But if you even look at the, I forget what sign it is, but with the triangle. Anyway, 8D is dragon, or Lucifer, like when he went from apparently 7D to 8D. Again, this is just like different people's versions of what these dimensions are. It's like in 3 fractals. The 9 dimensions is the stars, and you've got the 3 magi's, Orion, Bethlehem, Jesus. 11D, 10D is the void. 11D is like the CSF, or what do you want to call it, like the fluid that like is beyond the void. And then 12 dimension is sound. And so I have like a drawing. I'm really not that good at it, but this being like this plane that we're on, and then like a triangle, and then like whatever above it. Archangels, bull, rainbow serpent, 7 dwarves with Snow White. Yeah, so I was connecting those triangles because like I was also looking at the triangle or the pyramid shape, and I was saying that like when you reflect like a circle, a perfect circle, like it needs a point, or like a possible point of sorts in order to reflect it. And And then with my crystal pyramids, I was doing reflections and with rainbows and other various colors and shapes, and I was sharing that like it shows like even sacred patterns on it. But anyways, I was going into this because it's so complicated. This stuff is so intense and so complicated. But when I look at the sacrum and it's a triangle and like all these different like like this hidden symbology with regarding the triangle, even with Tesla with 369, which he missed 12, or maybe we just are not taught that he like the key to the universe is 36912. But even with Lucy in the sky with diamonds, Lucy possibly being Lucifer, and in the sky, like the diamonds, this is ode to like beyond the stars and the void. It are these like these patterns that when you put them together make a web of sorts. So even the like the Templar's cross, or even on He-Man, like that cross that he has on his chest, like the Knights Templar cross. You can also see it when you look at like my flat Earth map upstairs, like with has like the different circles on each side that look like again like the figure eight or analemma. When you look at one of the circles, like when you look at the light reflects. It does oftentimes look like you can see that Knights of Templar shape like in it, and I've taken pictures of that as well. And then even with like with my square based crystal pyramid, like I could see that same like formation like on the base of it as well. But like when you connect the triangles together and you keep doing it, it ends up being from this, and then you would like do another one here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and these would actually be connected in the middle. But then it just keeps going outwards, right, until infinity. And this could be like our fractal sound web hive universe, or whatever you want to call it. And then just like it could keep on going out into infinity, right? And so, oh yeah, like even 12 notes in music, 12 chromatic colors, 12 signs, 12 houses. And then you've got Pluto being the possible firmament or dome, and then Neptune actually being like the sky, like the sea above the sky. What we're seeing. So yeah, I go on all these different tangents, and you can even see like the clock, like when I look at the base of the pyramid. I've shared that in previous videos, so I don't like being redundant with this stuff because I'm already like 12 minutes in. So let me just go down the list here. Belief comes from knowing, veil, evil, live, all like same words. 32 degrees. I was talking about 32 degrees a lot because water is like it turns into a different form at 32 degrees. And then 23, there's even movies on it by Jim Carrey and other people, and 2 divided by 3 is 0.66, and then 2 plus 3 is 5, and then you got 2, the duality, yin and yang, and then 3 being like the Trinity, which could also be like even like sun worship in it as well, but also with the pituitary gland, pineal gland, and CSF connection with that as well, and God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, or like depending on the religion. And I was looking at no fluorescent. Anyway, Pinocchio. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I shared Santos Bonacci's explanation of it, where pin or pine from Pinocchio. It's symbolic of the pineal gland, or the third eye, and then occhio means eye in Italian. It also means like ore in French, if anyone wants to know. So like so the third eye. And oh yeah, and I was going to talk about Adult Swim too. Like I've talked again about like a whole bunch of like different mainstream media and actors and actresses and government, people and celebrities and talk show hosts that are part of like controlled opposition, if they know it or not. But Adult Swim, like even with like the messaging that's on it, like about like how like we're insignificant or we're nothing, and it's all, like the messaging on the commercials itself, it's always so like negative. There's like it's subliminal and subconscious in that as well, right? And so like our like even with our own minds, right? Like our perception is reality. So like the more we're coming across like that type of messaging, the more it can actually alter our frequencies and our energy and our aura, right? And so like that's why like I look at more positive stuff, and I'm more realistic, obviously, but I try to do things to build my confidence every single day, but anyways, trying to get off like the negative stuff as much as possible. Like even negative music can really impact us, and when we're impacted, we impact other people, and we impact again like our surrounding environment and animals and the insects and the trees and everything, right? So it's up to us to mitigate these things where we can. there's like mandible effect stuff going on with like ET phone home or home phone, and Fruit of the Loom, was it FRUIT or FROOT, and like anyway. Oh, sorry. Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops. Was it Fruit Loops? Was it FRUIT or was it FROOT? Loops, LOOP, and again with like the cereal like loops. Was it 4 loops or was there only 2? And then with the Fruit of the Loom, sorry, was there like no cornucopia? And so where's the loom, right? Like, so now there's just the fruit, but like I also remember there being a cornucopia like behind it. And so it doesn't make sense to me that there would just be fruit when it's just talking about Fruit of the Loom. Like, where's the loom? Anyway. And like even with like Luke, I am your father. Apparently it was no, I am your father. I've already talked about the Travis deaths and try to like clarify that stuff. Oh yeah, even with 7, like 7 colors, 7, like not chromatic colors, but 7 like prime colors or whatever you want to call it, and then 7 vowels, 7 chakras. There's so much. I've talked about this before, but I'll reiterate. Ground towers and fiber optic cables are needed to access an ether like we have like in this environment. That's heavily influenced by electromagnetism. But the ether, I believe, is more magnetic, and we are very magnetic, and the luminary is more electric, except for the sun, which is possibly magnetic as well. But I need to get access to it, obviously, to make these assessments more. Yeah, and so like, how did people like talk to people on the moon when there was no ground towers, there was no fiber optic cables or anything like that to get that connection or that signal? And then even when they were like leaving the moon, like did the cameraman stay behind? Right, this is what I was saying. Like Stanley Kubrick even admitted this, that it was filmed in Greenland and parts of Canada. And even now, like a lot of the fake stuff is it's in green rooms or underwater or in like 0 gravity areas, and there's so many glitches that I share and so many people that it's just, I really wish that people would start paying attention to this stuff and look at the references I share, because it does take time. If I was gonna stop everything that I'm talking about and then show you the clips and then go back, and I want to get into being able to do that stuff. But like, I've gone through hundreds of thousands of hours of research on my own, and then traveling around the world to get to where I'm at. And so all I'm asking is people like spend possibly like less than 50 hours, like let's say, on the stuff that I've shared, the references, like spread out throughout your life, and then possibly even putting it again on like level 1.5 or 2 speed in order to get through it, or again only looking at like the videos that interest you at first, and going from there. And I assure you it will be life-changing. Anyway, so many notes to go through. I'm gonna take the CSF. Oh yeah, so like all these connections with triangles too. You know, these webs that we weave. Okay, so I'm almost done with that stuff. There was other things like that of all the notes that I wanted to take that I didn't get to, but I don't know if I already like made the connection to you guys about the 12 nerves, cranial nerves, and the 12 disciples as well, and the Vesica Pisces, the Caduceus, like the serpents, like the 2 of them going over like across the staff or shaft. At at the top was where enlightenment is achieved, and then like the places where they connect, there's like 7 intersections, and it's throughout our body. There's that association, and it's connected to these 7 chakras, starting at the sacral chakra at the bottom, and or where the Scorpio is also associated with. And then when you do the triangles, as above so below, as left so right, like we mirror, we like, even our bodies are a mirror image of the other side. Like these triangles too form not only the cross, but if you keep on going, it forms webs. So I already went into the Last Supper with Leonardo da Vinci and his painting, and how he used the golden ratio like in his work, but then also how the Last Supper is tied to the seasons, and then like each like group of like 3 different disciples are connected with the different seasons, starting with the spring, and then you've got Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. And again, that represents spring, but I also didn't say like who they were, the apostles. So Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. For 2nd and 3rd houses, it's Peter, Simon, and James are the apostles. So Aries, Peter, Taurus, Simon, Gemini, James, and Aries being a cardinal sign, Taurus being a fixed sign, and Gemini being a mutable sign. For anyone that's interested in this stuff. And then you've got, and then again, this being spring, and this being like for the sine wave that I've talked about before as well. This, where it shows that can also be a circle that's divided into 12 sections. Anyway, that's not 12 sections, but there. Anyway. So yeah, that's spring, and that's on the sine wave. Spring is at the start of it right here. And the spring equinox being the 21st of March, and then you go up above the very top of the sine wave. That's summer, okay? And so like that's where the sun is at its hottest too in North America, in other areas. And then you've got Cancer, Leo, and Virgo that represent, or out of the zodiac sign, like that's where they are. And you've got Gemini is James, Cancer is Andrew, and Leo is John. And then you've got Gemini being, Cancer being Andrew, Leo being John, Virgo being Philip. So you've got Cancer, Leo, Virgo. Those are the represent like those different apostles. And I believe it's either Leo, Andrew, or John that's pointing at Philip, Virgo, pointing to the Adam's apple, showing that it's not really Philip, but it's actually possibly Mary, but absolutely a woman, and saying like, look, there's no Adam's apple. And Virgo is the only feminine sign, right? That's represented by like the Virgin. Anyway. And I've already talked about the organs that they're associated with, but I can get more into that stuff too. But it's just, again, it makes this like really, really time consuming. And so you've got Cancer cardinal, Leo's fixed, and Virgo's mutable. And then you've got for the fall or the autumn, or the fall or autumn, you've got and then the summer solstice happens in July, so the 21st of June. 21st of June. And that's where at the top it's at its highest. The sun is at its highest, and then you go into the fall, and then it's starting the fall, like on the sine wave as well. And so you've got Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. You've got Libra being the cardinal sign. You've got fixed. You've got Scorpio fixed, and then you've got Sagittarius mutable. And so Libra was Bartholomew or Nathaniel, depending on who you're looking at. Scorpio was Thomas, and Sagittarius James the Great. And interesting though that Thomas is also possibly a twin of Jesus in some accounts. And then you've got the like on and around the winter solstice. You've got like that St. Thomas Day or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, this is all in the fall, and then in September 21st being the fall or autumn equinox, which again, when there's more balance, when the sun is like on the horizon line, whatever you want to call it. And then there's that. And there's also a lot of different cultures and religions that believe, by the way, I'll back it up, that in the spring, starting with Aries, like that is the start of the year. And then so going into winter now, the winter months, you've got Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Capricorn represented by Matthew, Aquarius, Jude, Thaddeus, and then Pisces, Judas Iscariot. So Judas being the one that possibly betrayed Jesus, and accounts of him possibly being homosexual, whatever you want to call it. And but also like representing illusion, self-illusion, the subconscious mind, all these things in completion. And Capricorn being in the 10th house, Aquarius 11th, and Pisces 12th, which is about spirituality and accessing the subconscious mind and stuff like that, and being a mutable sign. Capricorn being cardinal and Aquarius being fixed. But then again, there's also like the winter solstice on the 21st of December, and then after that you've got the 3 days where the sun technically doesn't really like move its position in the sky, even though again we still have a sunrise sunset during the days. But then the 25th is when the sun starts moving again. And this is why as well there's like that connection with Jesus and being the Son of God, and that connection as well. So Jesus being like the sun in the middle. And yeah, there's just like so many different things I could talk about with this stuff, and go on. But I don't know if I've mentioned that aspartame. I drastically have reduced that, or have tried to eliminate that completely out of my diet the last couple of years, because I found out that it was E. coli feces. All right, so look it up. I've shared this on my Instagram. I share a lot on Instagram. I also shared that Michelle Obama was actually Michael Obama, and I've been sharing that stuff for the last couple of years. And even celebrities, like I've shared like them actually saying it as well. So this is not something that's not unknown in different communities. It's just stuff that people want to like keep under wraps, because and then it keeps like them like getting a lot of money and control and power and ego and all that other stuff. But right now we have people that are in leadership all over the world that are so incompetent, and it's for a reason. It's because they're trying to make us just continue to lose faith for so many different reasons, because of crimes against humanity and corruption and so many immoral acts and conflicts of interests and knowingly and willingly harming and killing like people's citizens. It's showing that people like are gonna look. I mean, it's making people want to not have like a government being controlled at the country level, and where they want to have like that like the world order, or what are we going to call it, under one dictator to control us. And I'm saying that that's absolutely not the answer to any of this stuff, right? And but I digress. I'm going on all these tangents. But people go missing and or even get murdered. So even like this was brought up again with Andreas on his channel, and it's something that I had mentioned for the Remembrance Day episode that I was on. But I was talking about Pierre Laporte and how he was murdered during like the Oka crisis period, and I believe it's because he was trying to share a lot of this information that I'm trying to share, especially like free energy stuff more. And but yeah, like he was murdered, and he was the premier of Quebec, and this was the '70s and crazy times, and so. Yeah, and then even like there's a few other people that try to bring up this flat earth stuff, and their careers were ruined and stuff like that. But anyway, I wanted to go more on like the Zodiac and its connection to astronomy, obviously, but it's also connection to like nature and science. And so I was looking at I always look at full moons and new moons, and seeing like what sign they're in, and you could track that on your own phone if you want to download apps. And again, I would also look at the sky yourself, and you could see like if there's a full moon or a new moon, and then you could see if it's a little bit off and the crescent is on the left, then it's actually, even if it's a slight crescent on the left, or a slight darkening of the left, you could tell if it's a waxing or a waning crescent and not a full complete new moon or a full moon. You can even tell this stuff on your own if you're able to look at that stuff and just see it again, like where the shadow is being cast, and you can make your own predictions. But I was also now looking at like every single day in the cycle, because like when your sun sign enters your like the moon, when the moon enters your sun sign, sorry, like once a month or twice a month depending on the month, then like that's where like this possible CSF seed, this protein, or this seed of life, or whatever you want to call it, like can possibly travel up our spinal cord through that column, that void, and make its way up to our third eye, and where we can access our higher levels of consciousness, depending on how we live our lives. But then I was also looking at, that, and I've noticed that like at the start of the month, it always is also in tune with the Zodiac, right? And so like we started this year with the full moon in Cancer, and the new moon will be on the 20th of January, wearing Capricorn, and then in February, after Cancer, then the next full moon is going to be in Leo, and then the next full moon is going to be in Virgo, and the next full moon is going to be in Pisces, and the next full moon is going to be in Libra, and then I go down the list with new moons. I was looking at the new moons, and then like they kind of lie to us as well, like on sites, and also depends on where you are in the world, because like some places it's ahead, even though I believe in the 24-hour clock, not this 12-hour clock, and time zones and stuff like that. But then you look at the new moons too. You've got the in Capricorn, and then you've got the new moon in February in Aquarius, and then you've got the new moon in March in Pisces, and it goes down the list. But then where things get a little weird is in September, and where you're supposed to have like a full moon or new moons in Aries, full moons. It's either going to be like it's been weird like the last couple of years, either in Pisces or Aquarius, and yeah, that I've seen so far. And so we're also talking about Ophiuchus, and how this constellation is seen more in certain periods as well, like the September time period and in the December time period until mid-December, and how it even spends more time in the constellation, like the ecliptic of the sun, than even Scorpio. And then when I look at this, like the calendar too, sorry, like I go on all these tangents, but so look at the patterns. And so like each month, like there's a like the full moon should follow like the following zodiac sign, and same thing for the moon. I hope I was clear on that. And then when you take a look at the full moons and the new moons, you'll notice that in a calendar year there's 13 of them, right? And so very important to also look at where is also why I'm leaning more towards like this 13-month calendar system, because I like following more the zodiac, astronomy, and like the moon, like nature's calendar, not so much this self-imposed one, or this not self-imposed one, but this like imposed one from the government. And so again, I just think these are also things to just like for some reason just keep misleading us. And looking at the sun is healing, looking at the moon is healing, and these are also things that are gold and silver conductors, and obviously electrical magnetic conductors. And then I was also looking at January, sorry, and it starts in Taurus, and then the following month, February, Gemini, and then the following month, Cancer, and the following month, Leo, and it goes down the list as well, right? So even like the starts of every month, it starts with the starting of the month, entering another zodiac sign in sequence as well, right? So like even in January, Taurus was in 2 days, then Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and it depends on the month, like how many like days they are in each, but again, like Aries is really interesting to me as well. Yeah, so take a look at this stuff, all very interesting. So like literally like everything is connected. And let me see, like I just want to make sure that I have everything. And then again, I've also talked about like how like the zodiac, like with the Aries, again, like it's starting with Aries and completing with Pisces, how like it's connected to the body as well. And so our body is a wonderland. My notes for the leaders that I was talking about before, chosen because they are morons. I feel bad for saying this, but this is how, like, if I remember, if I don't remember to bring things up, like at least I have like little notes. It's funny though. Um, if you want to look at more flat Earth stuff, I would highly recommend, or even debunking gravity and then looking at magnetism. If he still has stuff up, I would look at Ken Wheeler, Wheeler, and he his handle was Theria apophysis. And so THERIAAPOPHASIS, I believe is how it's spelled. And then he even talks about this like enclosed system. I've already brought up petrified trees, petrified animals, all over the world being rediscovered, and things like that. So I highly recommend and encourage people to look at Autodidactic or John Levy. So many different people that show so many different again like old advanced infrastructure and free energy stuff. That's Andreas and Bernie the Alchemist and anyways, look at my resources. and then again, look at the evidence. So like I'm like I have nothing to gain at all from like this stuff that I'm speaking out on, and everything to lose clearly. and it's been a journey. I'm not gonna lie, but I just hope that people understand that I was in a lot of people's places at one point, right, where I was lied to and I believed the lies, and I didn't question them on a lot of things because I was busy with other things, right? And you feel like you have no choice, unfortunately, but to have to be able to rely on people being honest or good or trustworthy people when you have so much other things going on, right? Like whether it be like busy with work, personal lives, with divorces, with addictions, with travel, with whatever you want to call it, or with like other fields, like being experts in other fields. And what I'm saying is like the more people talk to each other, the more you're going to realize that everything is connected. And the reason why things are being so divided right now, especially in the educational systems and in government, is because that is also what keeps us stuck and confused and distracted and not able to self-actualize. And anyway, I think on that note, I'm going to leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.